Yeah, so there's a lot of breeders now in America and worldwide, and I'm not against people, raising their own puppies, And like picking puppies, how to spot one that maybe has poor genetics, but, you'll see somebody say, they've got a dog out of this dog, and it's a grandson of this, and that's good. But for guys like me,
right? Okay, yeah, let me stop because I'm about to go down a rabbit hole. Which you think so? I'm about to go in another. I can see some other rabbit holes. Why use New Vet Plus? Strengthens the immune system, promotes healthy skin and coat, supports healthy eyes and ears, and safe for pets of all ages. Use my code for the discount.
Welcome to NWA Cane Corso Podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
I'm the true champion, and they make me the underdog. I'm going to show them all they're wrong because I'm the champion. I'm the real champion. There'll never be one like me.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another show. I'm going to cut straight to it. I ain't doing no bunch of intros. Y'all better know me by now. Brad Sneed is back in the house. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good, brother Joe. How about you?
Oh man, I'm so honored to be here back with you. Two Arkansas Hogs. You don't want to get hit by one of these Razorbacks down here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yes, sir. What's been good?
Man, nothing. We've been in the field a lot, working. It's hot in the summertime, but we still go straight through. Mm-hmm. And finally got some cooler weather in Arkansas, which I'm thrilled for.
Right.
And so football season is here, and
yeah,
I love fall.
Yeah, me too. We didn't get as punished. I'm outside a lot, so we didn't get punished like we normally do in Arkansas for the summer. It makes me think we might have a brutal winter.
We could. We had some 100-degree days, but it wasn't as many as usual. We were out. So maybe you're right. Hopefully not.
Yeah. I don't mind a little. I don't know. The older I get, I don't mind a little cold. But I got to get that firewood ready. That's for sure.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Well, man, we discussed talking about being that you are into the hunting dogs. We're going to talk about how do you select puppies. But before we get into that, you're pretty significant in the Dogo. Can you just give the people a brief background about you and the Dogo?
Yeah, so I started messing with Dogos about 2013. Of course, all my life has been, about dogs and, farming and the country boy. And I've always had a lot of dogs. We've always kept anywhere from 20 to 50, depending on what went on. I don't like to keep any more than 50. Right now, I've got good facilities to hold that many, and we work them and we use them all. But that's about enough for my program, so I don't need any more than that. But Dogos, we started messing with them about 12 years ago, and I met the grandson of the creator of the breed. That's Ulysses de Andrea Norez, and then his partner Jorge Funes. That's those guys at La Cocha. And we're actually breeding one of my females at La Cocha right now. Her name is Storny. She was the best in the FCA and the AMDA, that is the Association Mundial de Dogo Argentino. That's the World Association of Dogos. Mm-hmm. She was the best female in 2024. She's gorgeous. She loves the hunt. She's got it all. I like them to be pretty and to hunt and do all the things. And so she's at La Cocha right now, being bred to a dog we call Pica Hueso, and Pica Hueso is out of a two-time Grand National champion in Argentina. His name is Nipur. And so my female is out of a dog named Cacique. And so that's really good blood there. And so La Cocha and me are partners on many things, and we work well together, and they're good friends of mine. So right there where my dogs are at and I've been to and I've hunted is right there where the creator was buried in Cordoba, right outside of Apple Corral on a mountain out there. So I have very close ties to where they were created. And there's a lot of history that I'm not, talking about, and there's a lot more people involved, but that's a good thing. Ulysses, he is in Slovakia right now judging a show, and whenever he comes back, he's going to make an announcement about the book that's been written. He finished, called Por su Criador. He finished the book for his grandfather, and it's going to be about dogos. I was blessed to write a chapter in that, and I don't. It's not going to be. It's for dogos, but I think everybody will appreciate. They're going to glean something, whether you raise Rottweilers or you raise Yorkies. I think if you're just a dog man, you're going to enjoy reading it. There's a lot of good dog stuff in there.
Oh, great. Okay, good, man. Hey, it sounds like you pretty fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, yeah.
It kind of just rolls off real good.
Yeah. I got lots of practice, man. I'm not a very smart guy. I've only got about 2 or 3 things that I know anything about. You catch me outside of dogs or Spanish, stuff like that, I'm out.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, that's what's up. So we're gonna get into this puppy selecting things, and I guess we want to probably look at it from a breeder's aspect. And I know it's a lot of pet owners and stuff. They, you can take it with you too. So, but before you even get into that, I bet you one thing, before you even look at a puppy, you're looking at the parents, you're looking at the lineage, right?
That's right.
Can you expound on that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of breeders now in America and worldwide, and I'm not against people raising their own puppies. It's good that, they're keeping the Dogo breed going. And so you'll see somebody say, they've got a dog out of this dog, and it's a grandson of this, and that's good. They're trying to get the best blood.
Mm-hmm.
But for guys like me and La Cocha, it's not about getting one good dog. I want the entire pedigree to be stacked. And so when you do that and you're line breeding these dogs, and we outcross every now and then, and maybe that's when we have to for fresh blood and the way the system works, but maybe that's a topic for another day. But you don't want just have 1 or 2 good dogs in there. You want as many as possible. And so when you look up our lines, I want to see the dads and then the sires and the dams. I want to see them all good dogs. And it takes a long time of breeding and raising, training dogs to get it that way. But, some people will get a good dog or 2 and they get a good thing going, and then they just go out and buy a dog from somewhere because it's different and breed to it. And I mean, hey, sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the blood is not compatible. Sometimes you don't get what you think you're going to get. But when you do it for a long time and you got the genetics right, you pretty much know what you're going to get. Now there's going to be variances, but on the dogs that I breed, I pretty much, we've been doing it, long enough. And, a lot of, like I said, been passed down from my dad, my grandpa, and then like Ulysses, the guys at La Cocha, their grandparents created the breed. They know so much about it that we pretty much know this cross and this cross, because the mom's here and the dad's here and the cousins, and, coming back in, is it first cousins, is it half brothers, half sisters? We start looking for things that what we're trying to create. This dog, we got this look that we want here. Now let's try to bring in a little bit more speed here. Or this dog's really fast, let's bring a little bit more power here. And it's always moving.
Tweaking,
and,
yeah.
And so you're putting it, and what we're trying to do is drive that further and further and make them better and better and better, never satisfied. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you'll see guys like me, there'll be a time where I talk about Mandibula. Golly, she was awesome, but we can't stop. we got to raise more that are winning and that are hunting and that keep it going. And so then you hear me talk about India and Sepa and then Wapa and then now Storni or Augustina and these females that I got. And the females are, they take two to tango. I mean, a lot of people just think about the male, but the females are just as important. So the females have to, they have to have it too.
Yes,
And
sir.
so we're trying to constantly work and create that next best thing. And so after we gather the blood from these great dogs and we have it secured, people are like, why are you selling this dog? Why are you selling that? We have that. And we'll give somebody else the opportunity to own that, because after we gather that blood and secure it, we're already focused upon, I'm already 2 years down the road. I got puppies on the ground that are 4 months old right now, 6 months old. And then I got puppies in the womb, and we're already a couple of years ahead. And that's the way we do it.
Gotcha. Okay. Something I want to ask you before we get into this as well. I know people have different belief systems for as dogs, working dogs, pet home dogs. I've always been taught to try to breed for the total dog, and the total dog should be able to fit in the family. What are your thoughts about your dogs going to family homes?
Man, that's a great question. That's something that we hear all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs in family homes, this is pretty new in the world because America's so wealthy and blessed. So throughout the history of the world, dogs worked well. They worked stock. They did their jobs, and they were good in the homes as well. And the thing about hunting dogs is what people don't realize is they want to please their master so badly. It's like my mama, she got two little fief dogs in her house.
Mm-hmm.
I call them fiefs. They're like this tall.
Yeah.
Let me get over here. They're like this tall. They don't give a hoot about pleasing her. They don't give it. They have no job. And I'm not against that,
Right.
But if that's what you do, man, that's great. But these dogs that are built to work, that means they're built to please. They're built to serve. And these dogs that work for me, they get a deep sense of loyalty, and they work out really good in the homes where they bond with the family because they're used to a team unit. They're used to having to work. And so like our dogs, if they don't do well in the field, if they don't do well with other dogs, then if they don't pass on my criteria, then they don't ever get reproduced here. And my criteria is stiff. And so long before these dogs are ever bred and reproduced, they got to go and catch a hog and then immediately turn it off and take a picture with a child and come home and get in my shower and let me bathe them and lay on the couch.
Right.
And they got to know how to do a job and how to handle it, up here. And what I tell people is if you're not working your dogs and you have a capable dog, sometimes you really don't know what they're going to do in a high pressured situation. Like some people, they get in a high pressure situation and, they freak out. That's why social media is viral, in this day and time.
Yeah.
But the dogs that are level headed, because they have been in so many high pressure situations, it makes them they can differentiate things in the home better. It's like they know what a high pressured situation is. And so then when they're at the home and the family, they don't panic unless you start panicking and there's a bad guy in the house, and then they can get pretty serious then. But breeding for the total dog is what I try to do. They have to look pretty. They have to function well. They have to be smart. If I think that they're incredibly dumb, then I'm not going to breed that dog. They have to be everything and do it right. So we try to push the breed forward, because with me, it's not about just making puppies, because I use them and my safety depends upon them. So I'm different than someone in the large inner city, they just love the dogs and they're raising puppies. And like I said, I'm not running them folks down. It's just different because I'm using them. They have to handle well. They have to be smart. They got to have a good head on their shoulders. They have to be able to turn it on, turn it off. They got to be strong and athletic. And their structure has to be impeccable. I can't use a dog that's going to break down quickly. And so that's what I tell my customers, they're like, how's the health of your dogs? And I'm like, I got dogs 9, 10 years old that we could still breed if we wanted to. They're still going hunting. And those are the only genetics that we pass on because of what I have to have them to do.
Right.
And so,
Right.
Over at La Cocha, there's a dog we call Ultimo, and he was a world champion many years ago, but he's 16.
Mhm.
And he's still in good shape. He's still outside in the wintertime with snow on his back, sleeping,
Yeah. Yeah.
but those dogs, we find those because we work them. If there's any flaws in their bodies, we'll find it. And that doesn't mean that they have a bad future, that, like we're going to put them down. That doesn't mean anything like that. It just means they're not going to reproduce.
That's right. Right.
And so
right.
when you do that for many, 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 many years, then that's when you get the strongest of the strong. And there's lots of other things we could talk about, and
Yeah.
like picking puppies, how to spot one that maybe has poor genetics, but that's the kind of the nutshell.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let me stop because I'm about to go down a rabbit hole. Which how you think so? I'm about to go in another. I can see some other routes I take, but I'm gonna stick to these puppies. We don't get a lot of. I'm so happy that guys like you are finally hitting the screen. Guys like my cousin in Texas,
Yeah,
the kind of are finally hitting the screen. I know it was hard for y'all. I know you didn't used to do it and everything. But as far as picking puppies, how soon are you identifying the things you want to see? What are you looking for when your criteria?
So here's the way that I do it when, and maybe we talk a little about breeding. Maybe we talk about the female some and what she needs during her pregnancy and misconceptions about that. But let's just say the puppies are born and they're all healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not even talk about how to find a puppy with something wrong with it. Let's just say the whole litter is healthy and there's 8 or 10 of them.
Right.
The first 2 or 3 days, I don't do anything at all. Matter of fact, I don't even check male or female the first day. I just make sure that everybody is moving around good and that they're breathing well and they have no amniotic fluid in there. I make sure that in their lungs, I make sure that the female is doing good and she has no problems during the birthing process. If she needs help, I will help her, but I let her tell me if she wants me around or not in a good way about doing that. Like I said, we kind of rabbit hole in here, but if I go down there and I start, getting ready to touch those puppies during the pregnancy to help her moving around and she covers them up with her nose, then I back up.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like your mother-in-law in the labor and delivery room. Ain't gonna be much said, but your wife ain't gonna want her in there,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so each female is different. And some of these females, when they're birthing, they're just in a lot of stress. And so I don't want to put no more stress on the mother than I have to because she can move around too much. And so I walk in there and look, and if everything's good, then I turn around and leave and I start watching them. But anyway, let's get past. So the puppies are here and she's accepting me. I walk in there, she's patting her tail on the floor and she's ready for me to come in there and check them out after about, 48 hours. And I go in there and I start counting boys and girls. Man, I don't really do a lot for the first 3 or 4 days. Now, after about the 7-day mark, you're kind of getting out of the woods. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in the life of a puppy in the first 7 days. But after the 7 days, you're kind of getting out of the woods. And then after about 10 days, what you got then, you pretty much going to have.
Right.
And that's just a lesson for you young breeders out there. When those puppies are first born, don't go telling all them customers that your puppies are here and they're 1 day old. There's a lot that can happen.
Sure is, yeah.
And so after about 10 days, and I kind of start telling people, okay, here's what we got, and the puppies are here. And they're not going to do much until about 2 weeks old when they start, anywhere from 12 days or 14 days, they start opening their eyes. Mm-hmm. So all dogs are born deaf and blind, and the only thing working on them is their nose. And that's the way the Lord designed it. So it's really never too early to start any type of nose work. But I wait until about day 25.
Okay.
Day 25 is when I put the first mash feed in front of them, and I watch their noses work. And if you got some, stuff you can get in a can, or you mash up some feed, and I put some raw goat's milk in it, and I just put it out there in front of them. All of them won't eat it, but I'll watch the way they react. They'll be smelling it, and dogos grow pretty quick. And so with dogos at 25 days, brother, I'm going to tell you that litter's going to eat, and they're going to come up and smell of it, and they're going to take a few licks. And the second time that I put it down there on the second day in front of them, they're fixing to eat like hogs. I mean, they're fixing to eat like hogs. And the reason why I do that is I start taking a little bit of pressure off mama, because dogos are growing quick. Their teeth start coming in quick, and they bite hard. Man, they're like little alligators on their mother. So about 25 days, I start putting the feed in front of them, and then I'll take some dry feed and I'll scatter it around in their kennel. That's clean. It's on a concrete floor, and I'll watch those puppies that'll smell them little kennels and hunt them up, them little kernels. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And it's a little harmless way that I just start watching those they're active, because puppies will stay piled up all the time.
Yeah,
it's safer. And let's face it, I mean, 3 weeks old, I mean, these things are babies. And so if they don't leave the comfort of that little nest, I don't give them a negative, but I start giving little bonus points to the ones that leave the comfort of them other puppies, and they're smelling. And so about 3 to 4 weeks is when any puppy's ear canals will start opening. So, if you got a puppy that's 2 weeks old and you're shaking rocks above its head and he's not responding, that's because he can't hear, bro. His ears are, I don't care if it's a weenie dog or a Shih Tzu, they can't hear.
Right.
And so about 3 weeks, I'll start going in there after I start feeding them. Just say now we're going on week 4. So now they're moving around good, and I'll start going in there when they're asleep, and I'll just start lip squeaking to wake them up, like, and I'll see which ones hearing are starting to develop. And man, by 4 weeks old, there's going to be some of those puppies, when they hear that, they're going to jump up and they're going to start barking, and they're going to start, and I'll just shut up, and they'll run around that pen in there with their mama in there, and they'll just start going crazy. And I start seeing which ones are throwing that tail up. And so one of the first things when I look at a puppy at this age, I want to see how active they are. Lets me know how good they feel. It lets me know how confident they are to move around by themselves, away from their brothers and sisters.
Right.
And I want to see their tail up. And that tail is going to relay to me how confident that puppy is. If it walks around with its tail low or its tail tucked, I'm not giving them a negative score just yet, because they are babies.
Yeah.
But some of those puppies at 4 weeks old is going to have that tail thrown up. They're going to have their ears perked up, and they're going to have their shoulders high. And those puppies are naturally going to be more confident. And so like a dogo in show, he or she has to be arrogant. When they walk around, a dogo has got to believe that they are the baddest thing in the room.
Right.
And so those puppies at 4 weeks old, I start seeing which one thinks that they're bad. And that doesn't mean it going to fight every dog it sees. It just means how confident are they in themselves.
Right.
And that tail up is a real good sign.
Yeah.
So 4 to 5 weeks, they'll all start. And I'm leaving out, some. I'm just giving the the big picture.
But something you said, I wanna because you're a working dog, man, and then you got some show people. They're strictly show. You said something that dog almost had to have an arrogance, even a show.
Yeah,
he has to have a confidence.
Yeah, he got to be proud.
Other dogs. Yeah,
he got to be proud. And so,
yeah,
if you take a dogo in show and they're walking with their head low and their tail low and they're shy or they're intimidated by other dogs, then they're not going to score very high, and they're sometimes get disqualified.
Right.
And sometimes you can have a dog that does pretty good in the dog park, but when you get them around some other true dogs, they don't act the same. It's the same as like, look here. I mean, I can act all big and bad in front of down here in front of the junior high football team. You put me out there with the Arkansas Razorbacks, I ain't gonna say nothing. There's plenty of folks down there that look.
Right.
Hey, you guys got all my respect. And so there's lots of people, and I'm not talking bad about them, but they've never had their dogs out, and they've never had them around some true alphas. And like all my dogs that hunt, listen, they aren't afraid. They are super confident, and they get their dogs out and walk down the hall of my kennels, and their grown dogs will put their tail between their legs and pee in the floor.
Yeah.
Because there is an air, there is something they sense about a true alpha, the ones that are the true alphas. And so in show, if you come to me and you're going to get a puppy ready for show, it needs to be all white, and it needs to be, or it can have black on its eye, less than 10% around its eye, but its nose needs to be black pretty quick. And it needs to have a good black nose. And I like to have good black lips and good black eyeliner. And whenever we've got dogs that are, their conformation are looking like that, and they've got that proud look to them, they stand up good and tall, and they walk up to everything, and it's how they approach all their other mates. So like you have nap time, and say the puppies are starting to get old enough, they don't need the comfort of the dog pile anymore. They're kind of scattered out across the kennel sleeping. That those type of dogs will walk over to every dog and check them. And they'll walk up with that tail up, and they'll have their ears perked up, and they'll lean down, they'll smell of them. And that type of body language is telling me not only are they confident and they're proud, but they're just a touch arrogant, and they're not afraid. And that's the stuff you need in a show to look the way you're supposed to look, to stand up there good and strong. So when somebody wants to show, those are the things that they need.
Right. So confidence plays a big part.
Yes.
Okay. So we had, before I got you on that part, where were we at talking about the puppies? I kind of lost a thought where I took you off at. I believe you was talking about you was talking about confidence in the puppies. And what, about 4 weeks old? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I see for the confidence, so if you guys are just starting breeding, or maybe you've done it forever or whatever, this is not the be all, but these are just some of the easiest ones. That confidence, the way that puppy feels, I want to see his tail up a lot. I want to see it tail up in the air. And I want to see him moving that tail around, and the way that he approaches all of his mates. I want to see him walk up to them and almost, I don't want to see him just necessarily fighting them all the time, just belittling them a little bit, just kind of standing over them, thinking, hey, look, now this is my place in here. And that is going to give you a lot of confidence, and that body language is going to tell you about their dominance. And all of these things are going to help in the field, and it's telling you about their mindset, that they don't need a lot of people around them to make them feel confident in who they are. And that's going to come into play when they get out into the field and they get off by themselves a long way and they get in a jam, that they're not going to look around and get scared and need somebody else. And I have a whole nother list of things we do to train them to be mentally stable and confident for the wild. But these are the first things that I start looking for. So by the time that they're 6 weeks old, they get their first shots and they're going outside.
Right. And
when they go outside, I put them in a pen with a couple of other dogos. And these are grown dogs. These are maybe puppies, 6 to 8 months old. These are females, 7, 8 years old, and a young male, 2 years old. And I go out there, and it's dogs that I know they're going to get along well with those puppies. I don't experiment as much when I put my little babies out there.
Yeah.
But I put them out there, and I carry my get right stick with me for my 6-month-old puppies to make sure that they're not too rough on them. And the first day I introduce them, I'm standing out there with them, and I'm teaching my 6-month-old, who have already been trained by the older dogs, how to behave. They don't get up in the older dog's face, and that helps out with like jumping on people, walking in front of you. There's a lot of things that those older dogs are going to train them puppies for. But I watch those puppies of which ones go up and check out the older dogs, how confident. And then I test that theory. So some of them are still a little bit shy. They're babies, but some of those puppies will go up and check them other males out. They'll check them older females out. They'll walk up to them, and immediately they'll buddy up and want to start playing with them. They just feel confident in who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they feel safe in who they are. They may have a dominant personality, but they're just going to start playing with them immediately.
Right.
And so they'll play all day. And then here's what I start looking for when they're outside. There are some of them that'll go in the house and they'll pile up to sleep. And then as early as 6 weeks old, some of them will get out there at the corner of the yard with the old dogs where they can see who comes in my driveway, and they'll start sleeping out there by themselves.
Yeah.
And they would rather be out there. They already have that job mentality. It's like, I got to get where I can see.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the puppies will go inside, and I got a huge outside house they stay in. It's a double decker. It's a mansion for them. And some of them will go get in a corner and they'll sleep. I'm still, watching that, but some of them will get out there and lay where they can keep an eye on things.
Right.
Those are just little hints they're telling me about their behavior. But then they're going to start trying to bond with me and attach with me. And I'll go out there and I'll feed them, and then they'll play, and then they'll go to sleep. And now here's another one that's really important. There'll always be a couple of puppies that keep their eyes on me and they never take them off. That doesn't mean that they're up in my face. That doesn't mean that they're always attached to me. It's just they're always watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And then those puppies will lay down in the sun and they'll take a nap. And there's always one or two that always stay awake, and they'll get to where they can watch me. And I'll sit out there in a lawn chair or, whatever. And right when they get ready to go to sleep, I'll take my chair and I'll move over out of their line of sight and out of vision where those puppies can't see me. And they'll raise their head and they can't see me. Then they find me and they'll stop and they'll turn their body where they can see me. Then they'll lay their head back down again.
Yeah.
And when they start doing things like this, these dogs they are going to be obedient.
Mm-hmm.
These dogs are going to want to know what you think, what you say, what you do matters. They're going to pay attention to you. They're going to be loyal to you, and they're going to provide for you. And there's so many qualities that a dog have, but when I start looking for dogs that are going to walk by my side wherever I go, they're going to be quicker to train when I call them to come to me.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I teach them, they're going to soak it up faster. The ones that are that are exemplifying these traits like this. And so I got 2 6-month, one's 5 months and 1 4 months old females outside. And so I can go outside and fire up the grill, and they'll hear me, and they'll come over there at the fence and lay down and stare at me.
Right. Yeah.
And then they'll stare at me until they fall asleep. And then I'll go on the other side, and they will, they'll move where they can see me.
Mm-hmm.
I will walk out to their kennel while they're all asleep, and I'll not say anything, and I'll stand downwind from them. And those dogs will wake up and they'll turn and look at me. They'll always be the first ones to do that.
Right.
And, a dog doesn't have to hear you or see you. Their noses are powerful enough that, like in my kennel, I can have every dog I've got in a dead sleep after a hunt. And I can go stand in the hallway barn of my kennel with a fan on behind me, blowing it down through there. And within 5 seconds, every dog in the stall of that kennel will come out and stand at the door. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
And so I'll do little things like that with the puppies.
Uh-huh.
And then of course we have, it just goes on and on and on of the things that I'm looking for and what I want to see them do. You may have a question by now, but
I was soaking it in. You gave some really good game then people gonna be in the comment, oh, I didn't know that. Sometimes you talk to these old dog men and they tell you stuff you never heard before. And it's like, it is not even public knowledge. It's crazy. Yeah.
And it's like you said, my grandpa and all those people, they didn't care to train nobody. They just lived country folk out there,
mm-hmm.
And so social media is kind of new, and, and I started doing it, and now, people have a lot of questions. And so I try to answer as much as I can. And so for the people that call me, if I refer you to my videos, it's not that I don't have time to talk, or sometimes I may be tied up, but our call volume is high.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I have videos that I made to answer those questions. And so I might say, hey, Go on
Yeah.
YouTube, check these videos out. If you still have questions, holler back at me, because there'll be somebody else that is calling me, asking me, a question about something else. But
Mhm.
those little things that I'm telling you are some of the things that I'm looking for, and what traits that's going to translate into when they get older.
Even as far as prey drive, when are you looking for that? Is that something you're looking for early, and maybe even grip? Since you got a gripping dog, you got a hold dog, catch and hold dog.
So what I like to do is I will be looking for the dogs that are really, really active in the litter. And some of these traits will translate over, and sometimes they don't. And one thing that those dogos will start doing is they'll start chasing one another and playing rough, and they start playing rough pretty quick. And they will practice running each other down and grabbing each other by the throat. And then the one that's getting caught will roll over on its belly and submit. And then they'll get up and they'll take off, and the other one will do it to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll run them down and grab them each other by the throats. And that's the way that their mothers and the older dogs train them. So when they start playing, I put them out there with those older dogs on purpose, because those 6-month-old puppies have already been trained by my older dogs. And those 6-month-old puppies will run those little puppies down and flip them over and roll them, and they'll grab them and they'll hold them still. And part of submission is the younger dogs with the younger puppies, a sign of submission, will roll over on their backs, expose their private parts, and don't move. You can't get up and take off running until it's time. But then when the dominant dog says it's okay, let's go again, then they get up, and then the puppy practices on that older puppy. And they'll start doing that. And you can tell that some of them will get real gamey, wanting to hunt. Now, this will help you spot dogs when you're doing like a pure outcross, or you're new to the breeding game. Now, our dogs' genetics have been backed through so many generations. All of ours are pretty much going to do it. Some are just going to be better than others. But when I'm not, so I've got puppies that won't do this, that I just can see they have got a look in their eye, that when I look at them and we make eye contact, some of them are more mature. Like they're not interested in playing. They're all business. It's like, and sometimes that translates well. They don't want to play, they don't want to practice, but they're all business and they're ready for game.
Right.
And so some of that times it translates like staying with me and looking me in the eye and laying down and keeping their eyes on me. And so those dogs will have a tendency. And sometimes my best hunting dogs that I'm going to use for like my long range stuff, I get the most active ones that never pay attention to me. They're never concerned to where I'm at. They
Right.
don't care if I am there, gone, in the midst of it. And so then what I'll do is I'll say that dog, those two puppies right there, they don't care where I'm at. That means they're not going to have a problem with leaving me.
Right.
And that'll translate well into taking a track and running a hog as far as it takes, catching it, holding it, wait until I get there. Now, what I'll do is I'll eventually, as those dogs get older, I'll build a bond with them, a good working relationship.
Right.
But it's first in their nature to do their job, then worry about me. And that's a pretty good mindset to have. And you got to have both on your team, because hog hunting is more like football than anything else. I got smart quarterbacks with brains. And I've got dogs that are very, very strong. I've got dogs that are very fast. I've got them that want to be around me to protect me. I've got ones that don't want to be around me. And all of these players put in the right position, we can make a heck of a team to go out and do a job. But whenever you're looking for one puppy, if you're saying, Brad, I want a dog to be with me, and to be my companion, and the more you talk, I'm going to start leaning towards one type of thing and say, Brad, I want something to protect my wife when I'm not home. There's certain qualities that I'm looking for that's going to give that dog the best opportunity for what they want it to do.
Right. during this whole process, how long? Well, how long do you need to watch a dog for to see what you're looking for the total package?
Well, I've got a real good idea by the
Mhm.
time that they're 3 weeks old to the time that they're 6 weeks old. I have got a really good idea. And
You've seen your bloodline so many times too.
that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
right. And I'm not always right.
Mhm.
But it I'm not far off. You know what I
Right.
mean? I
Mhm.
can be wrong,
Yes, sir.
and sometimes I am. But the part about me is I'm so critical to judging my dogs. Here's what a guy like me will do. I can raise puppies that I am incredibly excited about. I'll keep 4 of them out of the litter for me to carry on the line, and I'll wind up culling 3 of them by the time that they're 6 months old. And by what I mean culling, these dogs are beautiful, smart. They'll go get it. But this customer will call and say, Brad, I just lost my dogo. It watched the farm. It did this. And I'll say, you know what? I've got this dog right now and he's doing everything right, but I can tell he does it more because he's trying to please me rather than he really, really likes it. And when
Mhm.
you get a dog out in the middle of nowhere, he needs to want to please me, but he needs to love it.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
needs he needs all of it, because it's not just one thing playing for the coach. You got to want to be there where you're going to give it your all. And
Yeah.
if these dogs are not giving it their all, they can become injured. And so there was a dog here a while back. His name was Gaucho. This sucker was bad to the bone. He would catch a hog. He would do everything, but I could tell he would really rather stay by my side and just make sure that I was taken care of, and he wanted to please me.
Yeah.
And this guy called from Kansas and he had lost his dog. And I said, man, I kept this dog back for a breeder. I was like, but he would really do well in your scenario, sitting in your house and protecting your family, thinking that that was his job. And a month later, he comes and gets him. A month later, he's got his year-old son laying in the floor, and he's laying on top of this dog. And he said, "Man, Brad, everything you said was true, and he's exactly what you said he was, and he loves it here. He's the best dog we ever had."
Yeah.
So, fitting a dog where they're supposed to be is really important. So, like I said, all these dogs that I raise will do what we want to do.
Mhm.
But I had a dog I kept up until 18 months old, and she just kept getting frustrated when we were out with other dogs and hunting. She
Mhm.
was absolutely gorgeous, extremely powerful, but she did not, I could tell she just got frustrated and she was a little bit irritable on super long days, and she didn't like it as much as the other dogs liked it. I had a guy call me. He comes down, he gets her, takes her home. He puts her in a certain environment, loves her, calls me, texts me all the time. Couldn't thank you enough. And so trying to figure all that out, I try to get the total package all together, but I try to fit the dogs where they're supposed to be in the right environment. And what I do, brother Joe, is very hard. And yes, all the
Yeah.
dogs that I raise will do it. But when I figure out the ones that are capable, that would want to be with me, and they would rather be in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, grinding with me in that swamp, and they love it. Those are the ones that stay here and hunt with me. And that extreme loyalty to me and what they are doing will speak a lot in volumes. So I don't know what the original question was, but those are just a few of the other things that I do. So by the time that they're 3 weeks old to 6 weeks old, and I'm watching them every day, I'll have a good
Mhm.
idea.
Right. Right. Okay. Um, is it times where maybe like they get 8 months? Well, I guess so. You explained that you could tell a dog that don't really want to do it. He's looking more to please you. So yeah. Okay.
And I and
Go ahead.
well, so like I got a female out there right now. Her name is Zayla.
Uh-huh.
So I kept her and one of her litter mates. And sometimes it's not about who's who can do it and who can. It's just like what it boils down to which one my favorite is. You know, so I kept her and one of her sisters, and Zayla was telling me everything about she is, who her parents are, and this girl can go get it. I'm talking about she can run a hole in the wind. And most people don't realize about dogos, but man, some of these things can run hard. And so at 7 months old, her by herself flying into the swamp, bang, grabbing this hog, going underwater with it, staying underwater 6-7 seconds.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming up for a breath of air and going back under. I'm talking reaching and getting it, slinging gravel, mud, can't get enough of it. And so, like, if I keep a group of puppies, just because I may move them on doesn't mean they're not good. It's just they might be better suited in whatever atmosphere a customer calls me with. But out of those 3 or 4, I know that one of them is going to fully suit me. And sometimes all of them suit me. It's just that I'm only going to keep one to breed with because I have other crosses coming up.
Right.
And so by 4 and 6 months old, they got to, so here's my standard. 4 and 6 months old, that is the learning stage. They need to be showing me that they're everything that I think that they're going to be. By the time that they're 6 to 8 months old, they need to be showing great interest in everything that I want them to do.
Right.
By the time that they're 8 to 10 months old, they need to be participating, and they need to be participating a lot. By the time that they're 10 to 12 months old, they need to be doing the deal. Right. They need to be up there doing it. And by the time that they're 14 to 16 months old, they need to be running that deal. And so they're going to be prime time at 18 months old. Right, and they're going to be doing everything really, really well. Now, they're not going to have the same head on their shoulders as like when they're 3. But by the time those dogs are 14 to 16 month old puppies, they need to be way down the road doing the deal.
That's what's up. All right. Hey, so I'm a shift here a little bit to social media. I seen a post you did one time. You was out hunting. I guess some of your dogs, I don't know if you remember this, some of your dogs were drinking some swamp water or something like that, and you kind of had to make a post. Let me preface it like this. Channels like yours and channels like mine give people more of a reality with dogs. Dogs are dogs. We're going to show you. And I guess some of your dogs were drinking some swamp water, and you kind of had to straighten people out on it. Like, hey, guys, all the animals drink from this, this system here. How has social media? I know it's a two-edged sword, but do you feel like that most people don't know have the knowledge of like dog men like you? They just don't know about things like that.
Yeah, man, I think that, and especially in America has become so wealthy that times have changed so much that, like me, a guy like me, using the dogs for their original purpose. What I tell everybody is, I want you to remember this: these are our dogs, and we love them. And some of these dog men like me have got extremely good bonds, and like you, with our dogs. But that doesn't mean that we forget totally where they came from, and actually what is best for them at the end of the day. And I can tell you right now, that water out there in that swamp where that corn is growing, where those beans are growing, where those world-class whitetail are growing, the hogs grow big and fat. There is so many good minerals in that ground that is good for that dog. It is a way, let me be like my papa, it is a way yonder better than our treated chlorinized tap water that we drink coming from. Now, you may have good water where you live and you say, Brad, it's coming out of well, but us drinking that treated water, that's okay. But I'm going to tell you, for a dog and the bacteria that they have living in their stomach, they can handle that and they love that. And so sometimes that's what the fish live in that. The deer are drinking that. Right. Hey, let me tell you, down there where we hunt, it is a thriving wildlife ecosystem of plants and animals and insects. And the deer grow bigger, the fish get fatter, the crops grow taller, with that
Right.
silt that comes out of the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
And people don't, they don't realize this,
But
but
they consume it.
they consume it. Yeah, they consume it.
Yeah.
And when people say, yeah, let's go back to natural, I'm not saying that everybody go out there and get you a cup full of river water and just drink it straight.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, when I go out there, I drink out of the creeks, but I know where to drink. I know how to do it. I know what clear water is good. And I don't drink that green swamp water that you see, but it don't hurt the dogs at all. And it's good for them. And it has some really good bacteria in there. And like when you see dogs that live inside of houses and they're drinking your tap water all the time, and those dogs are white, especially, and you see those red teardrops coming down their face, that is bad water coming out their eyes, that their eyes are constant. And that's what that is. That's chemicals and stuff coming out of their eyes. And these dogs that are living outside in those conditions, you'll see less and less of that. Much like ours with less allergies. I don't have a dog on allergy medicine or any medicine at all.
Right.
But people get sideways about that.
Yeah.
And they get sideways about many things that they read on the internet. And they, some professor at a university that grew up in the inner city, studied 3 years at a university, read a couple books, and now he wrote an article. And it's like, I heard a vet say the other day, he goes, after many years, we have figured out that, these oils are really good for dog skins. And I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like, when I grow up, we were so poor, we're going to the local fish house and buying 5 gallons of grease and poured it over 55 gallons of dog food, and we'd feed that straight grease.
Right.
And the dogs, because dogs' cholesterols are not the same. The oils are so good for their skin, man. It's so good. And so, man, it's crazy some of the stuff that you see out there.
Yeah, they don't know. Like, a lot of people don't understand. A good breeder is doing all the work for you, making dogs strong, making sure they're conditioned to heat, cold, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, we in a time that is strange. We're getting smarter, but we're getting weaker too. Softening up too much and things like that. But it's kind of up to us.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be around this house. I'll be looking at my kids. I think, man,
that's right.
No, we wasn't doing that. Now the TV don't come on hardly ever in my house, but then that helps. But there's some things but I'm an older dad. I let them get away with. I got to toughen up on. But
that's the way it is in America, man.
It is, yeah.
It ain't gonna be too much longer, and we ain't gonna have football anymore. They done took away my kickoff in the NFL. What kids don't play outside. Me and you used to run around unsupervised until dark.
Right.
And as America gets more educated, we're trying to become safer about things.
Right.
But we lose touch with the reality of the way that we were raised and what these dogs are made to do. They're capable. Even if you're somebody and you're living in Miami right now and you got a Rottweiler in your living room, it's capable of a whole lot more than you realize. And it's not going to be sick from doing this or that. So there's a little balance there with all that scare tactic stuff.
Right. Well, let's end with this. I know, you're a fellow Arkansan and you do some big things, really respect what you do. And I predicted, I said, Brad, he gonna make some noise up in this dog game. And I know you can't talk about everything, but what you got going on? I'm hearing some big stuff, some rumors.
Well, I have somewhat, it reminds me of that Jerry Clowers episode. I don't know how many of y'all listen to Jerry Clowers. If you're from the South, he's that old comedian. And he said, ever since I backed up into show business, I have backed up into these people from Hollywood. And they went on a hunt somewhere that was kind of a bust. And they wanted to go with me through another friend of mine. He referred them to me. I take these people hunting. I scared the life out of these people. I'm talking about and these are men. You know, I'm talking about. They come out there and they said, I said, let's go in there and stab that hog. And he said, brother, he said, let me be clear. He goes, I'm just a little bit shook up right now, and I'm trying to figure all this out. He goes, just let me get my bearings about me, and I'll be right with you. Yeah. So I took this guy hunting. He goes back to Hollywood, gets all of his friends on the phone. They call me, and man, we started doing some work with them. And you've seen it on my Facebook page, like all these big cameras on my buggy. So we've done a lot of filming, and we got some cool things coming up. And my producers and things, I kind of got to keep it a little bit on the down low. I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag, talking a little bit of it. But if it comes out, I'll show it to all you guys, and I'll share the links and stuff. Yeah. But we're working on it right now. And man, I'm just, you know, God is, he's blessed me. I talk about the Lord a lot on that show. And we just we're out there with our dogs, you know, and we're just showing them what the dogs are capable of, and little tips along the way about dogs. And I say, hey, this dog's doing that. Here's what that means. Or, you know, or I might say something about, hey, there's a lot of discussion about eating grass. Let me show you what this dog is doing it and what's going on here. And I just share little things like that along the way. But we have filmed a lot of stuff, just kind of showing the inside of my kennel with a better camera, showing the day-to-day life. We got puppies on there. Oh man, this is so cool. This brother comes down from Minnesota to pick up his puppy. He's so pumped, and we got him on camera. Oh, nice. Oh man, he's been waiting for like a year and a half, and he called me all the time. His name's Brother Tony Watkins, and if he sees this, he's gonna die when I mention his name. Minnesota. Yeah. But I said, Tony, I said, I want you to be the guy to come down on camera, and he was able to meet everybody and get his puppy, and we picked out his puppy based upon what would fit him, and I do all that on camera, and I'm showing how I pick out his puppy, the one I've been watching, and I'm really excited for it. And as soon as I can tell you guys more, I certainly will. That's what's up. Well, Brad, I sure do thank you for coming back. I think this might be your third or fourth appearance, man. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell y'all something about Brad. Brad is the same on screen, off the screen, always down to help. Always anything I can do, Brother Joe. I mean, he's just that type of guy, man. And we appreciate you, bro. You bet. And represent Arkansas. Come on with it. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, sir. All right. Well, anything else you'd like to say before we get out of here? Man, thanks for letting me come on the show. And anything that I have and you want to talk about, hey, you know, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I ain't always right, but I'll pass down what's been passed down to me and little things that help me. I guarantee you there's things that I have done or experienced that'll save you a trip to the vet. It'll save you from, you know, Brother Roman, he can get on there and testify, you know. Brother I've talked to him. Roman Price. Yeah. You know, when it comes to things, and I've seen lots of things with dogs, and I can say, hey, everything's going to be good. It's going to work out. And I've just seen a lot, man. I've seen a lot. So if anybody has any questions or want me to talk about something else, give me a holler. We'll visit about it. But thanks for having me on here, baby. Okay. All right, man. Well, till the next time, we appreciate you. See you, man.